Hello there my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. Hope you're having an amazing day. It is I coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today, we have some interesting new comments from Temuera Morrison. I feel like at this point I'm covering everything he says, but then again, in all fairness to him, whenever he gives an interview at fan conventions, there are some juicy tidbits. And once again, in his most recent comments at Fan Expo Boston, that is proving to be true. So as we know, he's been really hard done by Lucasfilm. Even though he's still played a few clones here and there, we are yet to see the return of Boba Fett, and we know how Tem feels about it. Last time he called upon the fandom to demand more Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, and at the moment, we don't know when he's going to return. I don't think he's going to be in the movie, I've spoken about this before. But today, my friends, we have some new comments that relate to a different part of Star Wars. Not specifically Boba Fett, but the running of the Mandoverse. Tem confirms there have been some big changes behind the scenes. This is something we already figured given shooting schedules, timetables, leaked information and rumours, but it's now been confirmed. What am I talking about? Temuera Morrison says they're moving away from the volume, away from the digital immersive sets, and Tem says Lucasfilm has shut down most of Manhattan Beach studios in favour of filming in England, mostly on location, which we know is true for Ahsoka Season 2. All of the Peridea scenes are using real British landscapes. Season 2 is going to look far more like Andor Season 2. That's really exciting, but Tem is saying that is going to be the precedent going forward. So not just for Ahsoka, I think that's going to be the default model going forward. Not just for the shows, but for Star Wars Starfighter as well. That is the next movie going into production in just a couple of months' time. They're also using Pinewood Studios again. And Tem's comments beg a couple of questions. Number one, does he know about this from his agent? Is it just because he's in the industry? Or has he himself been to England to film scenes as Captain Rex? I guess the reason I'm saying this is for a Star Wars actor who's not been in the game, so to speak, in a couple of years. He knows a lot about what's going on at the moment. Not too surprising, he's friends with a lot of folks in the industry. Even if Dave Filoni's not returning his calls, or so he claims, he's a Star Wars fan, he attends fan conventions, like I say, his agent is in the know about things, but it has made fans wonder if he's also been contacted for other projects. Now we'll talk about some of the other things Tem mentioned in just a moment, but his comments on the volume seem to confirm a long-standing theory that Lucasfilm just wasn't happy with its limitations. ILM truly developed something revolutionary, but their over-reliance on it got tiresome, and fans noted that while for certain environments it looks great, sometimes it can be very restrictive. Shots often favour mid or close-ups, limiting visual scale and spatial clarity. It can make a scene look very boxed in. I'm talking about a visual flatness and lack of depth. Take Obi-Wan Kenobi for instance. Fans commented on the lifeless, cheap and flat environments, especially on Tatooine and Jabim. It's just not as dynamic as on-location shooting, not to mention lighting limitations. While the volume does provide ambient lighting and real-time reflections, its lighting system doesn't replicate full spectrum. So when all is said and done, after post-production, when you're watching it on your phone, or your laptop, or your iPad, TV, whatever it is, sometimes the lighting just isn't right. Think of all the very dark scenes in Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett. There's also the question of cost, and speaking of this, one of the main reasons Lucasfilm decides to film here in the UK, and has done for years, is because of tax relief. The generous tax credit system. The UK is one of the most competitive film tax relief programs in the world. Productions can claim up to 25 to 40% relief on qualifying expenditure. So for a billion-dollar franchise like Star Wars, this adds up to tens or even hundreds of millions in savings. Another reason I think they're so-called abandoning Manhattan Beach is because of fan reception to Andor. I think that set the precedent for what Star Wars shows should look like. And that's why I'm very excited for Ahsoka Season 2. In terms of visuals and cinematography, it's going to be leagues ahead of the pilot season. But here's the thing, Disney and Lucasfilm still do use Manhattan Beach, and I'm sure they've not abandoned the volume forever. I think it's just a change of priorities. When it was this new shiny toy, there was an over-reliance, but now they're scaling it back. And like I said, for certain environments, for certain shots, it does have its place. I think the first season of The Mandalorian used this to great effect, but slowly and surely it lost its charm. And as an audience, we started to see its flaws. The cracks started showing up, and now fans are favouring on-location filming. Here in the UK especially, we have some fantastic landscapes, but they're still renting out the studio for commercials and even some of their own filming. I think Tem is being hyperbolic when he says it's closed. I don't think it's permanent, but Lucasfilm is definitely moving away from it. They are still going to use the volume for some scenes, sometimes they even do green screens. So it's not one or the other, it's not black or white, it's the ratio that's changing. And there are even signs of this shift back in 2023. Following Ahsoka Season 1, Dave Filoni was asked if he's going to use the volume for his movie, and instead of giving an enthusiastic yes, absolutely we're going to continue using this technology, he was far more hesitant and said, only if it fits. Here's the quote, "That's a great question. I know when it works and when it doesn't work." Now that sentence alone, and keep in mind this is 2 years ago, proves Lucasfilm was already experiencing its limitations back then. And then he said, there are certain situations where you absolutely want to use it, and there are certain situations where you just want to go outside or do it on a regular stage with a blue screen. For me in animation, I like to do a lot of pre-visualization. I like to work out a lot of things virtually beforehand. I can watch a cut of the film before I've shot it, and I bring cinematographers into the process. So yes, I would say it's definitely on the table, but now I have no fear of doing it other ways. And I think those other ways are going to be the priority, my friends. Another indication of this is his approach to Ahsoka Season 2, as we speak. They did much of the pre-visualization stuff here in the UK too. All of the prep work, the pre-production. I think Dave Filoni decided, for this second season, we're going to do things a different way. And one of the biggest reasons, aside from budget, is because they know it's one of the last live-action Disney Plus Star Wars shows. After this, we don't know what the future holds, but it's mostly going to be movies. So it's one big final hurrah, doing things the Andor way, and I think Ahsoka is going to really benefit from that. And so finally, my dear friends, going back to Tem, again he brings up Boba Fett, and now says he thinks Lucasfilm have left it too long between Book of Boba Fett and the next time he's going to appear, and it's all left up in the air, a big question mark. He also wasn't afraid to say Book of Boba Fett didn't turn out the way he wanted, but he clarifies it's not his place to do the writing or the directing. But he wants to see Boba return to form, as I'm sure plenty of fans do. And of all the upcoming Star Wars projects he's most excited about, you would never guess it. It's not The Mandalorian and Grogu, it's Star Wars Starfighter in 2027, or as he calls it, the Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie. He seemed really enthusiastic. And I've seen some people say, well, is he in it? Is he teasing something? I wouldn't read too deeply into this. I very much doubt, in any capacity, Temuera Morrison's involved. I think it's because he was at Star Wars Celebration in Japan and he saw Ryan Gosling on stage. That's why he heard about it and got excited about it. I don't think he's going to play some kind of long-lost clone post-episode 9. I also think it's awesome he's still passionate about Jango Fett. He talks as if it's still 2002 and I love that. His unapologetic passion for Attack of the Clones, the prequel trilogy in general, he's a legend. A legend, very hard done by Lucasfilm. But with that said, my dear friends, that is all for today's video. Do you agree with Tem? Do you like this new direction for Star Wars filming in the Mandoverse? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.